Hello, I hope that you're doing well. I wanted to have a conversation with you today about family dynamics that bring us into this state where we self-abandon. So what does that mean? Self-abandonment to me means we are choosing someone else's comfort, feeling of security, or their well-being, maybe even supporting their agenda over what is best for us. And there's different ways that we also self-abandon, but I'm just going to explore this with you today. And oftentimes within family dynamics, this is quite common. We will allow what our parents want or what our siblings want or our relatives want because we want to belong. So belonging is wired in us. This is part of being a human being. We could not survive if we were on our own. We want to be a part of a tribe. We want to be a part of a unit because throughout time, being a part of something bigger meant the probability of us being able to survive and succeed. All right, so there is power in numbers. However, when we stop listening to the wisdom within ourselves, the inner guidance, when we start overriding that intelligence, that's when we start to really cause ourselves harm because we can no longer self-trust. So I'm going to put this into perspective with an example. I have a very challenging relationship with my older brother, and I always have. My older brother grew up in the same environment as my younger brother and I did, so he experienced the same or similar, and I say that because our experience is unique, even though the container can be the same. We experience the same dysfunction. I'll just keep it simple. And then from there, we were separated. He moved with my mother and her partner, and my younger brother and I were fostered. So there wasn't a lot of interaction until I was about 16 and he returned for a little bit. Now, after that time, he went right into the military and I really didn't know my brother. But about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I finally started to get to know my brother because he was willing to start to get to know me. He had some serious opinions about me, even though he didn't know me. And in his mind, it was better to just stay away. As I was getting to know him, though, that got unpacked. And what that looked like was that he just felt so basically betrayed by the family that he just left everything, left everybody. Fair enough. Sometimes that's how we cope. However, recently, in the last year, there has been no communication again because he got angry about something and doesn't have the ability to communicate well. Fair enough. I'm a great communicator. Communication, clear, articulate communication is one of my greatest values. And that's probably because I grew up with a father who didn't communicate well, but rather he raged and he yelled. And those receiving it had to submit or there was going to be a problem. So I swore to myself I would learn how to work through my tendency to react and yell. And it might be funny for you to even think of me as being that person, but I was a masterful yeller. I could not communicate. I was so pent up with emotion and suppressed that it's what I did. Anyways, I didn't want my sons to grow up with that. So This past weekend, I ended up seeing him. The family got together. And before I showed up, I had said to my eldest son, I won't be hugging him because we have not resolved anything that had happened the year before. So, in my sovereignty and my steadfastness, in the clarity about who I am, what I stand for, what matters to me, which is respect. I love being respectful. It's something, again, that I value greatly, and I love being respected. And I can also wholeheartedly, lovingly agree to disagree and then allow somebody to just move on, but don't get in my face and don't start dictating to me, because that's not respect and it's not going to go well. So I proceed to greet family members, and my brother stood up. And so I just very calmly said, so are we hugging now? And he proceeds to say, just go with the flow, Lana, go with the flow. And as he's hugging me, he's patronizing me, saying, there, good girl. That's nice, right? Don't worry, we'll talk later. And you know what? I never saw him for the next 24 hours. He just disappeared. Nobody saw him. And even when my son and I were leaving, he never joined us. Even though he had shown up, he wasn't a part of things. And so I am bringing up this very specific example because I want you to recognize, maybe in your own family dynamics, that individual or those individuals that play you, that love control, and they want you to be a certain way because that's how they like the dynamic to play out. I am not somebody that is going to be easily manipulated or swayed. I have an opinion. I am quite comfortable sharing opinions. I'm tactful and discerning about when and how and where I do that and to what degree, because it's not fair to make others uncomfortable. However, if it needs to be spoken, I will speak it. I didn't feel that it was the best time to address my brother amongst these others that were seated watching this happen, about him patronizing me, him making a statement about we will talk, and then knowing it wasn't going to happen. Now, here's the interesting piece I also want to bring forward, is that my body knew that it was a no. I am not going to hug him. And yet, because he stood up and because I didn't want to make a scene, I decided to yield. I decided to soften, because within my heart, I only want what is best for my brother. I want him to do the deep healing and integration work that still needs to happen. Not just because of what happened in our family, but because of the atrocities he has seen and witnessed and experienced with over 33 years in the military. He has done, I can't even put it into words, the kind of work that he has done. He is a caring person, but I think that he has a difficult time with us because that part of his earlier childhood is not healed and integrated yet. So you might be more emotionally mature and evolved, steady within your nervous system than these individuals in your family who are still struggling to make peace or even reconcile what's going on in their own selves or in their ancestry. You, my dear, dear friend, needs to make a decision. If this is going to cost you, if it's going to be harmful for you to interact with individuals in your family that are hurting you, that are causing you to maybe move backwards in your healing, then maybe it's time to take some space, to take some time away from that individual until they are willing to also do the work. Maybe this individual is just not going to resonate with your energy anymore. Now, in order to self-protect, self-honor, self-respect, and continue to build self-trust, we have to be aware of when we are self-abandoning. I personally don't feel that I was abandoning myself. I felt that I had made a strategic decision to yield to the hug and to not confront him. Because when people are hurt, when people are damaged, when they are struggling inside and just hanging on, they don't have the bandwidth to hear somebody coming to them and offering perspective, offering insight, offering awareness. We have to choose to do the work. We have to choose to stay in the work until we are in a different vibrational state, a new foundation. All right? So please, if you're doing the growth work, be aware you are like an infant. You are a babe, and you are tender, and you are vulnerable, and you need to choose to mother or father that part of you that is being healed with the utmost respect, care, and diligence. This is fierce love. And you are not obligated, hear that again, you are not obligated to stay in relationships that are causing you to be hurt, to harm you, to force you to choose them over you. Do not self-abandon yourself. This is something that we are solely responsible for. You have to be that guardian of those tender, young parts of you so that you can feel more whole, steady, integrated, and in self-trust. I hope this helps. And if there's anything that I can do to support you, please reach out. My website is being upgraded right now, and I will be relaunching August 1st. But you can find out about how I can help you with the intimacy embodiment coaching that I do at lanaboyuk.com, or email me, lana@lanaboyuk.com. Blessings to you, beautiful being, as you do this diligent, very, most important work of being that spiritual warrior of light and love, and then radiate that out. You are needed. Your wholeness is needed. And don't let anybody detract you from that path. I love you.